Right now at 5, grass fires in Wilson County have first responders at work containing the spread.
And we've got a very windy day out there. Clouds increasing, thunderstorm chances increasing. Look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
Plus, local Girl Scouts put their construction skills to the test at the Crossland Technology Center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Monday. It is, actually, I don't even know. It's March the 3rd, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Believe
Okay,
it or not.
it is. Yes, it is. Now I remember. My car reminded me yesterday what day it was. Don't forget, this coming Sunday, we need to spring forward.
Yes, we do.
We're going to lose an hour of sleep.
I know.
I mean, so I saw a graphic, and if I can find it and punch in this information again, talked about daylight savings time and what would happen if we got rid of it to like sunrise and sunset times. And it would really, I think, mess with people's circadian rhythms. I think it would mess with people who work like our shift if you work overnights, because the sun would like set at like 9:30 at night during the summer and stuff like that. So DST, it's a pain to adjust all those clocks, but really I feel now that I looked at that information, it's more necessary than we might think. We'll talk about all that a little later, but we have a lot to discuss going on over the next about 36 hours or so. We have the winds, we have storms, which does carry a small severe risk, and then we have the potential of snow on the backside of all this.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot's going on. Let's get you out the door, though, for your Monday. Quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Looking good so far. We've already got mostly cloudy skies for a lot of us. And that'll be the case through most of the day, and then eventually we'll just be straight up cloudy. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Looking pretty good as well so far this morning. The other concern we have is, this is the wrong graphic, but we have in southeast Kansas, we have high wind watches. These high wind watches are for winds between now and Wednesday morning that could potentially gust as high as 60 miles an hour. That's not associated with any of the storms we're going to discuss. We're talking just winds that could gust that high. On to the future track for today. Again, today, clouds increase. We're going to stay dry, I believe, through the majority of our Monday. What we're going to have to watch is the thunderstorm chances as we go overnight tonight and into about this time tomorrow morning. So with that said, this is the risks that we have. Now, again, remember, day one, which is today, carries into the first couple of hours of tomorrow. So that's why we do have a low to elevated risk for strong to severe thunderstorms, but this is really going to be as this line of storms rolls in late tonight and then carries into tomorrow, in which the entire region has a low risk for strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. So we're going to discuss all of this in detail with you. Don't worry. We're going to break down what we're looking at. As of right now, though, again, not bad. Warmer than normal for most of us. We've got most of us in the low to mid 40s. Cool spot there in Fort Scott at 39. Kids getting on the bus, breezy. Mostly cloudy skies, mid-40s. Those south winds gusting to 20. And as we head home, those winds pick up, gusting upwards of 30. We've got temperatures in low 60s. Still mostly cloudy. Eventually, we'll again just be cloudy as we head into the evening. Very gusty winds out there, so you got to be cautious if you're driving. These will be south winds, so if you're traveling on east-west highways, that's where it'll be a concern. Our highs today into the low 60s. We'll talk more about the thunderstorm chances and about, believe it or not, the snow chances on the backside of all this and those gusty winds for you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, the Wilson County Rural Fire Department responded to 2 different grass fires in the county. The department released on Facebook that they were paged out to one fire south of Fredonia and another southeast of Altoona. The county is currently not under any burn ban. However, the department has used the opportunity to remind people if they have brush piles burning that it is important to check and recheck them. And some business and restaurant owners in Ozark, Missouri are complaining about a new service fee on their utility bills for fat, oil, and grease traps. $19.25 a month starting in April. Grease can accumulate in sewer lines, leading to blockages, and grease traps catch those oils and keep them from entering the sewer system. Now, according to a letter sent to businesses by the city, the service fee will support regular inspections and program administration to ensure grease traps are functioning properly. However, some business owners say they are already pay to maintain the traps on their own, and the stained glass Theater in Ozark mostly services pre-packaged concessions, but since the building has a small grease trap, the nonprofit will have to pay that new fee.
I think the flat fee is not the best way to go about this. For us, our water bill is about $40 a month, and this flat fee is $20 a month. So that's a significant increase for us. And as a nonprofit ministry, we don't have a lot of way to recoup those funds.
Ozark City officials say the Board of Aldermen approved the monthly fee to prevent costly blockages and sewer backups caused by fats, oils, and grease. Now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. A 5-time Grammy-nominated musician, Justin Roberts, made a stop at the Cornell Complex for the performing arts. His appearance is a part of the Connect to Culture Ignite series. Now, for the past 25 years, Roberts has created soundtracks for kids and their families. Justin and his band, the Not Ready for Naptime Players, brought the music to the stage for the 4-state audience.
There's so much fun to expect at the show. That's number one. We've also kind of created a dance floor for kids in the very front of the performance hall, which is kind of cool at the Cornell Complex. Connect to Culture's home theater, the B Shore Performance Hall, can kind of shape shift. And so we've created this dance floor for kids to just have a good time, get the wiggles out, and just enjoy the music.
The performance took place at 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon. And local Girl Scouts were invited to the Crossland Technology Center to learn more about STEM and construction careers. KOAM's Mitch Adams has more.
Honestly, it makes me really excited. I get goosebumps coming and doing this every year. And I know that if I was a young girl like they are and I had this, I would love it.
Area Girl Scouts gathered at the Crossland Technology Center to kick off Women in Construction Week. The Scouts had a hands-on opportunity to learn about different career fields in science, technology, math, and engineering.
If you're artistic or if you love math or anything, there's a spot for you in construction, from scheduling to being out in the field every day to being an architect. We have a spot for everyone, and I think every young girl getting experience on it now will just make picking a career later on just that much better. Stations in construction, plastics engineering, and manufacturing let the girls build birdhouses and try casting metals and plastics.
Well, it's not often that you get this type of hands-on experience to see these different type of careers that they might want to follow one day. So I think it's great for them to be able to see different types of careers in that type of STEM field. This event exposes new career opportunities to young girls who may not have had a chance to learn about them before. It's exciting and a little bit scary to watch them using a nail gun, but it was definitely exciting, and seeing things that I might not as a leader have actually been able to, get them to do, so they're getting these hands-on experience, so it's super exciting.
In Pittsburgh, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Well, Girl Scouts are in the middle of cookie season and can be found selling in front of area stores. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Spring break crowds flood Florida, prompting travel warnings and increased patrols to combat crime. Plus, visitors flock to Rome as Pope Francis recovers from double pneumonia. And we have a warm and cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:16 now on this Monday morning. Lots to talk about. First, and again, if you're just joining us, day one from the Storm Prediction Center is today, but day one also carries an hour or two into the next morning. So while we have a severe threat today, I want to emphasize that this is more for what's going to be building in after midnight tonight. Today, we're not looking at really any thunderstorm chances at all, but overnight, we do have a low to elevated risk out there in parts of southeast Kansas and into northeastern Oklahoma. And then by tomorrow, this spreads with a low risk across the entire area. So that's some good news, because yesterday that elevated risk for tomorrow was actually back up into parts of southeast Kansas and most of southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma. That could still change again. We'll keep you updated on it, but we are looking at thunderstorms, and some of those could be strong to low grade severe. As for tonight, here's what we're looking at, and this is really the same situation. Just take these and spread them across the area tomorrow. All hazards are ultimately possible across the region, but again, they're all in that low category with the exception of that hail in parts of Washington County, Chautauqua County, and Newada County. Could see some slightly larger hail, but otherwise, again, the good news is while there is a severe risk, it is low. Here's what we're looking at though. For today, clouds will increase. It will be very windy out of the south. Temperatures will be very mild as well, again above average for this time of year. And here we are now, the future track at this point showing about 3 a.m. as the point that this line of storms, and it will be a line of storms, starts rolling into the area. So just outside of E8 Center at 3 a.m., rolling into Eureka. At the time we get to about 5, it's not moving too quick. So now we're just outside of Chanute, rolling into Fredonia, west of Coffeyville and Independence. And as we go through the morning hours tomorrow, as could speed up, it could slow down, but by 8 o'clock, the bulk of the area is starting to get in on this line of storms. And it is also, while it does look impressive with those pretty colors there, it's also fairly messy, which is again why the overall severe threat in our area is relatively low at this point. Not zero, but pretty low. These storms will pass through, and by about noon, this initial line is out of here, and we're just left with mostly cloudy, gusty skies and gusty winds. A couple hours, maybe 3 hours later, a few additional scattered showers and storms get going, and then the winds shift. As the low pressure starts to track off to the east, the winds are going to shift out of the north behind this. Still very breezy, and we could see, at least briefly, a transition to maybe some light snow or a light wintry mix overnight tomorrow into the first half of our Wednesday morning, and then after about 5-6 o'clock in the morning, that's all gone. We'll start to clear out. We'll be much colder Tuesday night and much colder for our Wednesday. We'll get more sunshine out there as well. We have high wind watches for the bulk of southeast Kansas through Wednesday morning, and what this is we could see in this area winds gusting upwards of 60 miles an hour, and that's not thunderstorm wind gusts, that's just wind gusts. So that's something else we have to keep in mind as well. Right now, temperatures for the most part pretty good. We're all, just about all of us, into the 40s, again with the exception of Fort Scott sitting at 39. So as we go through the morning, again mostly cloudy, breezy, upper 40s to start, upper 50s by 11 a.m. South winds today gusting 30, maybe as high as 40 miles an hour. That continues into tonight. Because of that, we'll also have very mild temperatures tonight. Not a big difference in our overnight lows. And we'll have those thunderstorms in the first half of the day, and then by the evening and overnight, maybe that wintry mix. Still breezy Wednesday as well, much colder. Then we'll start to warm back up again as we head into the weekend and into next week. Take a look, even some low 70s out there. A few more showers possible by middle of next week. But again, we'll keep a close eye on this. Strong storms appear possible, maybe a few low-grade severe storms. It is something we want to watch closely, and of course, we'll be here with you tomorrow morning as that line rolls on through. Let's check your forecast. We're back with Health Watch after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, researchers from Cornell University suggest there are certain foods you might want to avoid to prevent cavities. Analysts found a link between foods with high levels of starch to oral bacteria that can lead to gum disease and cavities. Foods like mashed potatoes, French fries, and even pasta can affect how your oral bacteria responds to these meals. The reason, they say, is the AMY1 gene, which breaks down starch in your mouth. They say the more copies you have of it, the more efficiently starch is dissolved. However, not everyone carries the same number of this gene, which is why some people are more prone to dental problems. Researchers suggest brushing your teeth after eating foods with high starch. Well, a new study finds kids' screen time has stayed steady since 2020, but how they spend it has changed. Now, the survey was conducted by Common Sense Media, a nonprofit group that tracks media and technology and their impact on kids. Now, it says by 2 years old, most kids spend about 2.5 hours a day with screens. And kids between the ages of 5 and 8 spend about 3.5 hours a day with technology. But as traditional TV viewing declines, kids are spending more time gaming and watching short videos on platforms such as TikTok. Now, they spend an average of 14 minutes a day watching short videos, and that's up from 1 minute in 2020. And the time they spend playing online games has jumped 65% since 2020. Well, around 300 million people are living with a rare disease globally. Health experts are applauding new efforts to better diagnose and treat these illnesses. That's something that was once thought to be impossible. Mandy Gaither explains how advancements in artificial intelligence are bringing hope to those with rare diseases.
They're conditions that often go undiagnosed or untreated. More than 7,000 rare diseases have been identified, and these illnesses can have a significant impact on a person's health and well-being.
It takes sometimes up to 15 years for individuals to get a diagnosis. So thinking about how long you live with just that uncertainty as to what is wrong, whether it's in your family member or in yourself, it's just a real burden.
Dr. Timothy Curry with Mayo Clinic says many times that uncertainty lingers because doctors haven't seen the health problem before, or that issue doesn't fully fit with the condition's clinical characteristics. But he says artificial intelligence is now allowing for large amounts of data to help identify patterns in patients and analyze the entire set of DNA instructions found in a human cell.
Could we look through a large library of genome results along with medications and see if we could repurpose some of those medications? Because most of the time, 95% of the time, these rare diseases right now don't have a treatment.
Curry says these AI advancements are doing something once thought to be impossible: improvements in diagnoses and the development of new treatments, bringing hope to those trying to help patients living with a rare disease.
It's a super exciting time to be in this area. Because for the first time, we really have tools that allow us to study things in ways we never were able to do.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, Curry says that while rare diseases individually aren't common, having a rare disease isn't rare, since millions of Americans suffer from something that hasn't been diagnosed. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a windy and warm day today ahead of those storm chances. Another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, Wildcat Glades works to clean up and restore Shoal Creek with the help of volunteers.
And clouds already increasing, winds increasing, and it is going to be a mild, breezy day. We also have storm chances. We'll take a look at all that for you in the forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, dads and daughters dance under the stars in Pittsburgh at a Hollywood-inspired event.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Monday. It's March the 3rd, and it is, you know, they determine the storm season. March either comes in like a lion or like a lamb, and then vice versa.
Right.
It kind of gives you a heads up as to what to expect. Well, in our way, in a sense, March is going to come in kind of like a lion. We got some thunderstorm chances, maybe some strong storms, but I think the really big thing right now is the winds. They're going to be a problem over the next about 36 to 48 hours. So, it's going to be a busy couple of days here in the 4 states. Today we're going to be dry, but today is also going to be that signal. You're going to know something's up. You know, when storms are approaching, when you know a storm system's approaching, you can feel it in the air like the day before.
Some people get headaches too.
Yeah.
I get headaches sometimes.
And that's probably you're going to have that feeling today with the storms getting ready to roll in tonight. Let's take a look outside right now, though. Downtown Pittsburgh looks okay. Again, it's dark because, well, the sun's not awake yet. But once the sun does wake up, you'll note that it is quite cloudy, and we will continue to see clouds increasing across the area. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line also looking pretty good so far this morning. I think we're going to be dry for most of today. It's going to be tonight we have to start watching those thunderstorm chances. We also have this, which is not something we commonly see. We have a high wind watch for most of southeast Kansas. Now, within this, it runs through Wednesday morning. There could be wind gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour, and that's not associated with any thunderstorms. It's just the winds gusting that high, and we could see sustained winds of 20 to 40 miles an hour. So that's going to be a concern over the next couple of days. Why this is a watch. It's going to be breezy today, yes, but it may not be that windy just yet, but just something to keep in mind out there. For today, though, we'll have those south winds. They're going to be gusting upwards of 30 to 35 today. Clouds increasing, and as we go later into the day, eventually just mostly cloudy to just plain old cloudy skies by this evening. It won't be until overnight tonight into tomorrow that we see those storm chances. So again, for today, this is really for after midnight. We do have a low to slightly elevated risk for some strong to low-grade severe storms, and that will spread across the entire region as we enter tomorrow. But again, this risk is going to be primarily with a line of storms we're expecting about 24 hours from now, heading into tomorrow morning. And again, it's a low risk, which is good, but nonetheless, that is a chance for some strong to low-grade severe storms. We're going to break down all those details for you here in a few more minutes. To get you out the door, though, cool spot, still Fort Scott at 39. No, you're tied now with Independence at 39 and Cassville. Bulk of us, though, still in the low to mid 40s. So kids getting on that bus this morning, again, about the mid 40s, mostly cloudy, south winds gusting to 20. Those winds increase a bit this afternoon, gusting to 30. It will be about 63, still cloudy when the kids come home today, but still dry. Cloudy skies as we head into the evening, and our highs in the low to mid 60s. As I mentioned, we have the thunderstorms coming in tonight, and believe it or not, we could see snow on the backside of this system by tomorrow night. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Chris, thanks. Wildcat Glades in Joplin is working on a Shoal Creek restoration project. Workers removed invasive plant species such as winter creeper in hopes to make room for native plants. Now, officials say native plants help feed native wildlife, and the natives plant also prevents soil erosion, helping to improve the water quality of Shoal Creek.
It's important to restore native habitat because it supports native wildlife. Birds need certain foods, insects need certain habitats and foods as well. They will only host on certain plants.
5 volunteers showed up to restore the habitats. Well, Frank Layden Elementary hosted its annual school carnival, bringing together students, parents, and community members for a night of fun and fundraising. Now, from balloon pops to beanbag tosses, mini golf, and a press your luck game with teachers, the event was packed with activities for all ages. Kids enjoyed bounce houses, face painting, and cakewalks, while parents took part in a silent auction featuring community donated items, including a Pitt State signed football helmet and Chiefs merchandise.
Seeing all the kids get excited about it. We had a kickoff assembly yesterday, and every time you would announce something about carnival, they would just get excited and they would cheer. So it's all for the kids and for them to have fun.
Now, the Pitt State football team joined in to volunteer, helping run games and activities. Around 50 volunteers pitching in. Organizers say the event was a success, raising funds to support the school and giving families a chance to celebrate together. And dads and daughters danced the night away under the stars in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation Department and Memorial Auditorium hosted the annual event, bringing a Hollywood-inspired touch to the evening. Organizers began planning in November, spending 2 days transforming the venue for the event. Food was provided, and the night was filled with music, laughter, and memories that will last long after the final song played.
How important it is for fathers and daughters to bond, because it is kind of sometimes hard, especially since, you know, sometimes fathers aren't for sure, should we do glitter, cupcakes, what are we going to do? Here, we just plan it all, you just show up and have fun.
Now, the theme of this date night was Hollywood, complete with a red carpet entrance, twinkling lights, and a touch of movie star magic. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Israel cuts off humanitarian aid to Gaza as phase 1 of the ceasefire comes to an end. Plus, a White House meeting between President Trump and Ukraine's president sparks chaos. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Now, topping World Watch, faithfuls flock to Rome to pray for Pope Francis. The 88-year-old pontiff was in stable condition on Sunday as he recovers from double pneumonia, but he did skip his weekly blessing to avoid a public appearance. Now, people were lighting candles and saying prayers at the base of the statue of John Paul II in front of the entrance to the hospital where the Pope is receiving care. Now, visitors from all over, including Father Babu Shurayath from India, say they are hopeful he will recover. The Vatican shared that the Pope is grateful to his doctors and the well-wishers for their support. Now, he says he is using his hospitalization as an opportunity to stand in solidarity with people who are suffering and sick around the globe. And Israel cuts off all humanitarian aid being sent to the Gaza Strip Sunday. The move comes a day after the end of phase 1 of the ceasefire and as negotiations for phase 2 are ongoing. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are reeling from the decision. One man says people are stocking up on food supplies out of fear the war will resume. He also says the price of food and necessities have doubled in response to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's decision. Netanyahu warns of, quote, additional consequences if Hamas does not accept the proposal to extend the ceasefire. And a White House meeting meant to move Ukraine and Russia closer to ending the war might have had the opposite effect. A shouting match unfolded in the Oval Office between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Now the big question is, where do we go from here? Kevin Cork has the latest.
What was supposed to be a White House meeting to talk about a minerals deal and peace in Ukraine quickly turning out to be anything but peaceful.
You're gambling with World War III, and what you're doing is very disrespectful.
A war of words breaking out in front of the cameras between President Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Your country's in big trouble. Wait a minute. No, you've done a lot of talking.
Zelensky came to Washington to sign a deal with the U.S. for Ukraine's rare earth minerals, but wanted stronger guarantees on any peace deal with Russia to ensure President Putin keeps his word.
Of course, we want to stop the war, but
you're saying you don't want to cease fire.
I said to you,
I want to cease
with
fire.
guarantees.
In the end, Zelensky left with no deal in place and with his country facing an uncertain future.
Putin, with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace.
The contentious meeting threatens to reset the clock on negotiations to end the war. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle reacting to the drama.
A planned ambush designed to embarrass President Zelensky in order to benefit Vladimir Putin. That was an embarrassment.
I have never been more proud of the president. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
European leaders also weighing in, siding firmly with Ukraine and pledging their continued support for Kyiv.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:44 now on this Monday morning. We're talking about thunderstorm chances. We're talking about high wind across the area, and we're talking about snow chances. Yeah, we're going to really get about all four seasons in the next 48 hours or so across the area. Let's start with this. Again, today, I know it says today, it's day one, and I've explained it before, but if you're just joining us, maybe you haven't heard me go over this little spiel. The Storm Prediction Center, day one actually carries on, I think, until like 1 or 2 o'clock the next morning. So this isn't actually today. We're not expecting any storms today. It's going to be after midnight tonight. So we do have a low to elevated risk out there for overnight tonight, and then after 2 a.m., we'll expand this low risk to include just about the entire area here. Now, all hazards are possible, but I also want to emphasize the fact that those risks are all in the low category, which is good news. It's not great that we have them, but it's better they're in the low category than anything higher. So again, overnight tonight, we have the low tornado risk, a low hail risk, and we do have a low to elevated wind risk. But the good news is, again, even tomorrow, that low risk you saw across the area, just take this brown, this low risk here for all these hazards, and just expand it across the region. The greater severe threat is expected to still be to our south and east, but we could get some strong to low-grade severe storms. Ahead of it, you're probably going to smell the rain, you're probably going to feel it. The winds are going to be gusting out there, upwards of 30 to 35 miles an hour today, maybe even greater than that for some of us, which we'll go over as well. Clouds increase until we're just straight up cloudy, and then here we are about 3 a.m. Now, I think the future track is maybe an hour or two slow. I think really this line of storms is going to be getting here a little closer to maybe 1 or 2 a.m., And so let's just take back a couple hours on each of these here. So as we get a little closer by 5 a.m., I think this is really what we're looking at now at about 3. And then when this says about 8, I think this is more about 6 a.m. is when this line is going to be right here. Now you can see it's got the impressive colors. That's heavy rain. Those are thunderstorms. But you can also see it's very disorganized. So that's why, again, our overall severe threat is pretty low. This line could be packing a bit of a punch in our area, but it's going to be disorganized enough that it may not be that significant of a punch, which is good. Severe weather season just really starting to scratch the surface here, so we don't need to dive head first into this. Now, by about noon, that first round is gone. See the wind shifting? We have a low pressure system out here. We'll get additional development after about 3 tomorrow of some more scattered showers and storms, and as that low pressure gets a little closer, tracks off to the east, winds will be gusty still, but this time out of the north, and we could start to see by late tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning, that's snow, a transition to light snow or a wintry mix. And by about 5, 6 a.m. Wednesday, that should be out of here. But it's a lot going on in just a matter of 48 hours. By Wednesday afternoon, it is clear, it is cold and below normal. Now, here's what I was talking about with the winds. This is a high wind watch for most of southeast Kansas through Wednesday morning. The watch is indicating that we could see wind gusts, not associated with storms, upwards of 60 miles an hour with sustained winds of 20 to 40 within this zone. Now, if this goes up to a high wind warning, obviously we're looking at a greater chance of that. But we're still going to be breezy across the entire area today and tonight, and into tomorrow, and into Wednesday as well. Temperatures, we have some upper 30s out there now. Most of us, though, in the low to mid 40s. We're looking to start the day upper 40s. Be about the upper 50s by 11 a.m. Again, with those mostly cloudy skies and quite breezy. We'll make highs today eventually into the low 60s across the area. I will do that again tomorrow, and we'll have a pretty mild overnight tonight. And temperatures will drop. We'll have that wintry mix. Pretty chilly on Wednesday, and we'll start warming up again as we head toward the end of this week and next week. But again, we'll keep a close eye on those thunderstorm chances for you tomorrow morning. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more after this.
Well, for your movie and streaming news now, here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Hey, Magic Mirror, who's the fairest of them all? Why, Shrek, of course.
Ew, Dad!
The first look at Shrek 5 features Shrek and Fiona's daughter, voiced by Zendaya. The award-winning actress joins franchise regulars Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz when Shrek 5 arrives in December of 2026.
Liz gave off a feeling of speaking to everyone.
So here we are, the faces and voices ignored in silence too often by the decision makers.
Shaking It Up, the life and times of Liz Carpenter profiles the women's movement leader and activist who went from breaking down barriers for female journalists to key presidential aid. The award-winning documentary airs on PBS stations and streams on pbs.org beginning Saturday, March 1st, the start of Women's History Month.
Beekeepers is a special program outside the chain of command.
I protect the hive. When the system is out of balance, I correct it.
And Jason Statham is set for a sequel to The Beekeeper. The actor and Miramax are re-teaming for a follow-up to last year's action hit. That's The Buzz in Hollywood. I'm David Daniel.
Well, tense and terrifying moments caught on camera as a horse playing on a frozen pond breaks through, setting off a frantic rescue. Thankfully, the horse made it out okay. And Jerry Roth has this story in today's Take a Look at This.
A horse in New York is safe and on the mend after being rescued following a terrifying fall through thin ice in Saratoga Springs. Video shared by police shows the horse's owner struggling to keep the panicked animal above the surface of the family's farm's frozen pond after it fell through while playing on the ice. Officers arrived and quickly began to assist with the tense situation. The video is hard to watch, especially if you were part of the generation traumatized irreversibly by the harrowing horse scene from The Never-Ending Story. Nope, still can't watch. Thankfully, the Saratoga situation had a happier ending. After plenty of pulling, the horse, Sly, was successfully removed from the water and was later seen safe and warm at home. The owner even joked that Sly's dreams of becoming an Olympic figure skater are now over. Vets in California had to rescue a 7-month-old Bernese mountain dog from her strange addiction. Luna's family took her to Corona Animal Emergency Center after they noticed she had a bulging stomach. X-rays revealed she had gotten a taste for something she shouldn't have, the family's laundry. During surgery, vets removed a total of 44 items from her stomach, including 24 socks, 2 hair ties, and a baby's onesie. The hospital later said Luna's story is a powerful reminder of the critical role veterinarians play in keeping our furry friends healthy. As for Luna, she's now laid up at home and recovering in her cone of shame. Finally, in California, guess what these firefighters pulled from a chimney? Actually, not what, but who? This big, beautiful owl was recovered after becoming trapped above a fireplace in a family's Thousand Oaks home before being safely set soaring to freedom outside. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Stick around, we'll be right back. Well, the Las Vegas Sphere reveals the name of its cheeky emoji mascot. The Sphere's emoji will now be formally called Orby. The iconic emoji, known for its side eye and silly faces, has been around for a little over a year. The official introduction of Orby comes with the launch of a new online store for the Sphere. And fans can buy Orby merch or merch from any of the famous residencies that have left their mark on the venue. Less snowfall and a longer race isn't turning the hearts of these competitors to mush in Alaska. Anchorage is once again sending dogs off in one of the greatest endurance and team races at the 53rd Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race. Very little snow has forced a change in the ceremonial start to under 2 miles through Anchorage's streets instead of 11 miles. Fans come from everywhere to watch this tribute to Alaska's heritage in delivering car growth through canine courage. Because of less snow this year, mushers must run an extra 128 extra miles for a total journey of 1,128 miles. The competitors will finish the race in the old gold rush town of Nome on the Bering Sea coast about 10 days after the start.
You know, what's kind of wild is we could see our own snow in about 48 hours or so, which we'll talk about in detail a little later. For today, though, upper 40s to start, upper 50s by 11, mostly cloudy, breezy. South winds gusting 30, maybe 35 miles an hour out there. Mostly cloudy skies as clouds increase across the area. Eventually, the low to mid 60s for our highs. We'll fall back through the 50s very slowly this evening, around the low to mid 50s tonight. South winds increasing, showers, thunderstorm chances increasing after midnight as well. That'll be the thing for us most of tomorrow. Scattered showers and storms, a couple of strong storms possible, especially in the morning. And then that'll turn into a light wintry mix late tomorrow night into early Wednesday. We're still breezy tomorrow and Wednesday as well. Colder Wednesday, warming up as we head into the end of the week. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more after this.